When other species of the galaxy hear the rumors about human children, they want to find out why there is such a rumor. They see a human and they stare, they analyze, but nothing really stands out. Nothing substantiates this rumor. They look at a human child, there's no horns, no wings, tails, claws. They don't seem to be secreting any type of venom. There's no fangs, not really. No talons, spikes, nothing. In that moment, it makes any of them wonder how humans could be known as the best warriors, even as children. That is, they wonder only until they watch the human children's play. Sometimes they hear it called competition, but to the rest of the universe, it's called warfare. They look at the physical games that the young kids play, the speed and strength, the things like tag, where they move their arms so fast they can strike out as soon as one of the other children comes and says, "Tag, you're it." The human turns, swings its arm, "Tag, you're it," so quick that most can't even see it happening. There's things like tug of war, where it seems like humans have mastered the art of maneuvering their bodies to overwhelm those who are much bigger and much stronger. And this is just a few. These are the ones that are of physical strength. There's also mental games that are played. Games of extreme forethought and strategy. Like things like what the humans call chess and other board games. Or something they call cards. Each game is designed to make a child think faster, to move faster, to become stronger. And this is even true with those programs that the human's parents send to the children very early in life. But those come after everything is preset. As it turns out, the human parents construct this adaptation. They make it so that the human is set up for success from the moment they are born. From the moment a child is even able to open their eyes and look around, they are taught by their parents, drilled in ways to aid them in cognition. They also do tests periodically to see how they have achieved, how far they've gotten, and how they can be improved. Adaptation on the drills is there to enhance areas, to take care of weakness, or to enhance a strength. By the time the child can even walk, they've already reached a level of mental clarity that amazes most species. At the same time, they actually begin working on the child's physical as well. They begin to moving the child's body more and more before the child can even walk, making sure they have full dexterity, full flexibility. This actually incentivizes them with the ability to walk, to move, to maneuver, to become stronger, and they all begin to take to their feet much earlier than they used to. Human parents are actually obsessed with such a thing, but no more than their obsession with nutrition, as it is a massive issue in the past, and this allows human children to develop with an impressive efficiency. Once the child can walk, they are placed in a torture that makes most sentients cringe, some faint, and just watching, it's been known that some will lose control of their bodily functions. This horrific torture for the young ones is called gymnastics. Is a torture of stretching the body, flipping the body, twisting the body in ways that would cause most species to surrender in pain. But to the human children, it isn't painful at all. In fact, they smile and laugh. To them, this sort of torture is fun. They will continue this for years, human years that is, continuing to develop the body, trying constantly to show off to each other who can bend their ways, contort themselves in ways that would make many just simply go, "That's not supposed to bend that way, I don't think." Then, before you know it, the torture continues for these young ones as they must choose. By the time they are approximately 5 to 8 human years old, they must choose a style of combat. Each of these styles is different, but the basics are the same: to learn how to fight. The humans have several different fighting styles. They call things like boxing, Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and other type of mixtures of what they call martial arts. But each one not only allows them to be able to stand up for themselves physically, but instills a discipline that can be found no other way but with some sort of military style discipline. By the time human children join the academies of study that they're going to go to, an academy of learning, they are already able to face the entire building's worth of students alone in unarmed combat if they so choose. To everyone's shock, though, the human children only want to make friends. They make allies very well by being nothing more than polite. Another thing that is almost beaten into these children to make sure they, as they say it, mind their manners. This is something their parents imprint and enforce on them constantly. This politeness calms most Xenos down, yet there's always the underlying fear of what these humans can do, even though they are still just children. This is where the games help. A human child combat games such as things like lacrosse, hockey, football. None will seem to satiate most children as they constantly want to keep going back and back and back for more, even as they come off the field bleeding that strange red iron blood that they do. When told to go seek medical attention, the human children will just say, "No, I'll just drink some water. I'll rub some dirt on it. I'll lick it," or something crazy like that. They're not even healed yet. They won't even mend their wounds unless they're told specifically to do so, and they will just go back and they will continue their combat sport. Though this is not all of them, as some human children prefer games of the mind. There's also games that only a predator would play. Games like hide and seek. When human children would show how efficient they are at games such as this, some of the other species will actually begin to keep their distance as they realize that their idea of fighting is usually to be an ambush predator. However, it seems that humans are able to simply sniff out, to find in some way all the other Xeno children who play this game. And many times humans have come up behind and surprised even the most respected predator species out there. Many decide to use the humans to actually sharpen their own skills. However, they're constantly outplayed by the humans, especially when it becomes games strictly of the mind. Such simple games, like that of what the humans call bones, or something more intricate like chess, which usually a human is playing 3-1 against others, because if they don't, they will simply dominate every single game. They need to not be focused. They need to be able to go through multiple different targets. Though this does show that a human cannot mentally dominate all species at once, this competition actually multiplies their opportunities to just see how they can make themselves stronger, to analyze the situation faster. This even goes for what they call video games, as they seem to be incredibly good, especially those where you're holding a weapon. It seems as though they can take down any enemy within moments. Their reaction time just gets faster and faster. This is almost frightening to watch, but nothing is more frightening than realizing that a human child with all these warrior skills is going to become the most unstable creature in the entire known universe. Human parents simply call it, as they say, being a teenager. is at this point in the human's life cycle where competitions become more fierce as they fight for acceptance among their peers and, of course, to show off to potential mates, regardless of which sentient species. It is noted now that especially human males will begin to show off in more physical ways, becoming more and more violent as long as it is a way to show off to whichever female. And it seems as though the more the other species looks human, the more they'll do this. This is where the true horror of human warriors come out. Humans actually invite others into full-on battle situations, utilizing smoke, small explosions, full military techniques, as they project orbs of either hardened petroleum or orbs filled with a colorful liquid that seems to explode on them, and they simply call it paint. It is at this moment that all the training shines. Unless you can outnumber the humans by an extreme number, like say 40-1, there's no way to beat them in this arena. Their cognizance from birth allows them to analyze the battlefield instantly. Their flexibility never seems to leave them, even after years of not doing their gymnastics, which allows them incredible movements with all their, as they call it, parkour, that seems to bounce off the walls, flip over them, and end up in places where you wouldn't think a human could suddenly be. Their battle prowess for fighting shines at this moment, as it is also normal for a human child to receive lessons on how to competently handle some sort of projectile cannon. In many cases, they want to use something called a 12 gauge. However, it is also well noted that when they fire this at a young age, they usually end up on their back and their parents seem to be laughing for some strange, sadistic reason. While playing with these plastic orbs or the paint orbs, they can instantly find anyone hiding as they seek out their opponents with such insane efficiency. They can see through a battle strategy just like a board game or a video game that they play all the time. They can track and deal with multiple targets at the same time. They do this all at once, and it's well noted that the humans will fight even harder if there is an opposite sex on their team. The desire to, quote-unquote, show off in front of them will make a human simply push and be even much more aggressive. The human males, especially at this point in their life, will also go beyond aggressive if a female on their team is injured in some way. It's as though there is a protective instinct that cannot be disengaged at that time, yet everyone on their team would prefer to have that accentuated in the moment. A shining example of this happened during a particular competition where a female Dragdakon was struck in the neck, one of the few places where she was unprotected on the body. Without hesitation, the human male next to her, as she fell down next to his bunker, grabbed her and pulled her behind cover. Seeing her injuries, one could even through the mask see the rage boiling in his eyes. He picked up her plastic ball thrower and proceeded to clear the entire field of the opponent single-handedly, screaming and cursing in rage the entire time, firing way more shots than they needed to actually call someone out. It is of note that this human male was only 13 human years old at the time. When he returned to the start point, he noticed that the female Dragdakon was still damaged. Though she was receiving medical care, this was enough for the human male to look at the other 3 humans in the 35-person group on each side. It is of note that this female Dragdakon had been around this human since he was old enough to walk. They had been friends that entire time, so apparently he did something you don't want a human to ever do. He took it personal. Along with his friends, without a word, they simply looked at each other, and through the video they all seemed to move their heads up and down as though they're speaking telepathically. When the horn sounded, they decimated the entire opposing side without a single loss. This video is shown to all the other species before allowing their offspring to make friends with human children. They may look harmless. They may look friendly. They may do anything to protect their family and their friends, which makes them wonderful allies, friends, and even lovers, perhaps. Just remember one thing. Try not to piss them off, or else. Hello everybody, this is Syntax. Thank you so much for joining me today on this short story. Now before I go, I need to send out the congratulations for today's winner of the Find the Logo, and that would be Chris Dixon. And I also need to send out some special thank yous to the supporters of the stream, and those would be Sir, Prozac and Pancakes, Brian Kemp, SS Demon, MTF Guard, Guardian Sage, Erica Gem, Julius Boone, and Jan Yeager. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Everybody else, I'll see you on the next one. This is Syntax, punching out.